Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We have breaking news coming out of Melbourne Park that has sent absolute shockwaves through the tennis world, and specifically through the American tennis establishment. The draws are out, the brackets are set, and the 2026 Australian Open has just delivered a first-round matchup that is being called the single most explosive, high-stakes collision of the entire opening week. If you thought the first round was just a warm-up, think again. The headline screaming across sports pages today is clear. The United States is in shock. Why? Because American star, the power-serving phenom Alycia Parks, has been handed what many insiders are calling the ultimate nightmare draw. She isn't facing a qualifier. She isn't facing a wild card with no experience. She is stepping onto court against a newly minted top 50 sensation, the pride of the Philippines, and the Rafa Nadal Academy's most dangerous rising weapon, Alexandra Eala. This is not just a match. This is a collision of two distinct tennis universes. On one side, you have Alycia Parks, one of the hardest hitters the women's game has ever seen, a player who ties Venus Williams for serve speed records, a woman who can blast anyone off the court when she is on. On the other side, you have the calculated lefty brilliance of Eala, a 20-year-old who has torn through the last 12 months of the tour like a hurricane, rewriting history for Southeast Asian tennis, and entering Melbourne with the kind of form that wins Grand Slams. The shock here isn't just a matchup, it's the timing. This is happening in round one. One of these two incredible talents is going home immediately. And right now, the American media is scrambling, looking at Eala's recent destruction of top-tier opponents in Auckland and Keon, and realizing that Alycia Parks is in severe danger. For years, we have waited for Eala's main draw debut at the Australian Open. We watched her grind through qualifiers. We watched her suffer heartbreak. But 2026 is different. She arrives not as a hopeful, but as a contender. She arrives ranked number 49 in the world. She arrives fresh off a victory over Olympic silver medalist Donna Vekic. And she arrives ready to dismantle the American power game piece by piece. In this special broadcast, we are going deep. We aren't just looking at the stats. We are dissecting the psychology, the mechanics, and the sheer narrative weight of this battle. Why is the USA worried? How has Eala transformed her game in the last 6 months? And why is this specific stylistic matchup, the lefty counterpuncher versus the American powerhouse, the defining story of the Australian Open's opening days? Buckle up. The happy slam is about to get very, very serious. This is a breakdown of Eala versus Parks. This is the match the world is watching. Let's dive in. To understand the magnitude of this shock, we first need to contextually deconstruct who these two women are at this precise moment in January 2026. In tennis, timing is everything. A matchup that looks routine on paper 6 months ago can become a blockbuster today based on trajectory. And the trajectories of Alexandra Eala and Alycia Parks are fascinatingly divergent, yet violently converging here in Melbourne. Let's start with the narrative driving the headline, the rise of Alex Eala. If you've been following our coverage, you know that 2025 was the year of arrival for Eala, but the start of 2026 has been the year of authority. We need to talk about what she has done in the last few weeks because it explains why American analysts are sweating this draw for Alycia Parks. Eala didn't just practice during the off-season. She evolved. Coming into the Australian Open, Eala played the ASB Classic in Auckland. This is a traditional warm-up event, usually a place to shake off the rust. For Eala, it was a statement. Reaching the semi-finals of a WTA 250 event on hard courts is impressive enough, but it was how she did it. She took apart seasoned veterans. She defeated Magda Linette, a player who knows how to grind, a player who has made deep runs in Grand Slams before. Eala dismantled her in straight sets. That victory was a signal. It showed that Eala's defensive capabilities have merged with a new, aggressive offensive mindset. Then, she moved to the Keon Classic. Now, critics might say, it's an exhibition, but tell that to Donna Vekic. Vekic is an Olympic silver medalist, a Wimbledon semifinalist, one of the purest strikers of the ball on tour, and Eala beat her. Straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. That result wasn't a fluke. It was a dissection. Eala exposed Vekic's movement and neutralized her power. This is the version of Eala that Alycia Parks has to face. This isn't the teenage qualifier of years past. This is a top 50 player who has tasted blood against the world's elite. Eala's game has matured at the Rafa Nadal Academy to a point where she is no longer just getting the ball back. She is constructing points with the ruthlessness of her mentor. Her lefty forehand has added significant RPMs, revolutions per minute, allowing her to pin opponents deep behind the baseline. But more importantly, her serve, often cited as a vulnerability in her junior years, has become a tactical weapon. It's not about speed, it's about placement, sliding the ball out wide on the ad court, opening up the court for the 1-2 punch. Now, let's pivot to the other side of the net, the American star, Alycia Parks. Why does the title say the whole USA shocked? It's because the American tennis public knows exactly what Alycia Parks is capable of, but they also know her vulnerabilities. Parks is a Ferrari engine in a chassis that sometimes struggles with steering. When she is on, she is arguably unplayable. We are talking about a woman who hit a 129 miles per hour serve at the U.S. Open, tying Venus Williams for the fastest serve in tournament history. She has won a WTA title indoors in Lyon, beating Caroline Garcia in France. That takes immense guts. But Parks is a high-variance player. Her game is built on red light, green light tennis. She goes for broke on nearly every shot. Big serve, big return, massive ground strokes. When the ball is landing in, she looks like a top 10 player. But when the rhythm is off, the unforced errors pile up rapidly. The shock for American fans is a realization that Parks has drawn the worst possible type of opponent for her specific game style. Here is the tactical breakdown, and this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of why this match is so fascinating. The tactical clash, stability versus chaos. Alycia Parks thrives on chaos. She wants short points. Serve, return, winner. Serve, return, error. She wants to take the racket out of your hand. She does not want to rally. She does not want to run side to side for 10 shots. She wants to dominate the center of the court. Eala, conversely, has become a master of control stability. As a lefty, she naturally disrupts the rhythm of right-handed power players. Think about the geometry of the court. Parks' favorite pattern is likely the cross-court backhand or the inside-out forehand. Eala's heavy lefty topspin forehand goes directly into Parks' backhand, often kicking up high above the shoulder. For a power hitter like Parks, a ball that kicks high and fast is a nightmare. It prevents her from hitting flat and hard. It forces her to lift the ball, often resulting in a short ball that Eala can then attack. Furthermore, let's talk about the movement factor. This is arguably the biggest disparity in this matchup. Eala's movement has improved drastically. She is sliding on hard courts now, defending out of corners with open stance backhands that remind you of the modern greats. She makes you play one more ball. And against Alycia Parks, one more ball is lethal. Parks often struggles when she is forced to hit 3, 4, or 5 shots in a rally. Her patience wears thin. She pulls the trigger too early. Eala knows this. The game plan for Eala will be explicitly clear. Neutralize the serve, extend the rally, target the backhand, and wait for the implosion. The mental warfare. We also have to discuss the mental aspect, because this is a grand slam. The pressure is suffocating. For Alycia Parks, the pressure is massive. She is the American star with a high-ranking potential, trying to reestablish herself in the top 50. A first-round exit to a player younger than her is a disaster for her ranking points. She knows Eala is consistent. She knows Eala won't give her free points. That creates anxiety. When you play a wall, you feel like you have to paint the lines to win a point. That leads to errors. For Eala, the pressure is different. It's the pressure of history. The entire Philippines is watching. Every match she plays is a national event. But Eala has shown time and again, from a U.S. Open Juniors to the SEA Games gold medal match, that she has ice in her veins. She thrives under the spotlight. The Rafa Nadal mentality is evident in her on-court demeanor. She doesn't break rackets. She doesn't panic. She resets the surface variables. We must also consider the Melbourne Park courts. The Australian Open hard courts are usually medium fast. However, The heat plays a huge factor. If this match is played during the day, the ball will fly. That helps Parks serve, making it even faster, but it also makes the ball bounce higher, which helps Eala's topspin. If it's a night match, the conditions slow down. The ball gets heavier. That heavily favors Eala, who has a fitness to grind out long, physical rallies that would drain Parks' energy bar. The narrative arc. Stepping back from mechanics, look at the story here. This is Eala's main draw debut at the Australian Open. After years of falling in qualifying, she is finally here by right of ranking. There is a sense of destiny about this. The universe didn't give her an easy draw, but it gave her a showcase draw. Beating Alycia Parks isn't just a win. It's a highlight reel. It's a victory that says, I can handle the biggest power on tour. If Eala wins this, the draw opens up. The confidence she gains from neutralizing a server like Parks would make her a threat to anyone in the second round. Conversely, if Parks wins, it proves she has the discipline to overcome a tricky lefty opponent. It would be a maturing moment for the American. That is why the USA is shocked, because they know this is a coin flip. They know their star is walking into a trap. Eala is not a 50-50 matchup for Parks. She is a stylistic kryptonite. Let's go deeper into Eala's recent technical adjustments. Observers at the Rafa Nadal Academy have noted a change in her serve toss. It's higher, more consistent. This allows her to disguise her serve direction better. Against an aggressive returner like Parks, disguise is more important than speed. If Parks can't read the tee or wide serve, she can't step in and crush the return. Eala needs to keep Parks guessing. And what about the return of serve? Eala is a brave returner. She stands her ground. Against Parks, she will likely stand a bit further back, giving herself time to react to that 120 miles per hour thunderbolt. The key will begin to return deep. If Eala chips the return short, Parks will crush it. Eala must neutralize the first shot. We are looking at a match that will likely be decided by unforced errors and breakpoint conversion. Parks will hit more winners. That is a guarantee. She might hit 30 or 40 winners. But will she hit 50 unforced errors? Eala might only hit 15 winners, but if she keeps her errors in the single digits, she wins. It is a classic tortoise versus hare. If the tortoise had a wicked lefty forehand, and the hare had a rocket launcher, the shock in the title also refers to the ranking implications. Eala is defending points from her ITF runs, but at the Grand Slam level, everything is a gain. She has nothing to lose. Parks has everything to lose. That dynamic shift of tension in the air. When the crowd settles in at court 7, or whichever show court this lands on, they will feel that tension. The Filipino community in Melbourne is massive. We saw it at the Quion Classic. They will be out in full force. It will feel like a home match for Eala. Can Alycia Parks handle a hostile, loud, energetic crowd cheering for the underdog? Parks has had moments of volatility with crowds before. If the Eala army gets loud and Parks starts double faulting, things could unravel very quickly for the American side. This is why the headline is justified. The USA is looking at the draw and realizing we might lose our power hitter on day one. And the Philippines is looking at the draw and saying, this is the moment. So, as we look ahead to this monumental clash, the question remains, who blinks first? Does the raw, unadulterated power of Alycia Parks overwhelm the young Filipina? Does the American star simply blast 4 aces in every service game and render Eala's tactical brilliance irrelevant? It is entirely possible. When Parks is in the zone, she takes the racket out of her opponent's hands. There's a scenario where Parks walks out, serves 80% first serves, and wins 6-2, 6-2. That is the danger of playing a power hitter. But there is the other scenario. The scenario that the data, the recent form, and the stylistic matchup all point towards. The scenario where Eala, calm and composed, absorbs that power, where she uses the pace of Parks' ball to redirect it into the open court, where she frustrates the American, forcing her to over it, forcing her to press, forcing the errors to flow. We are witnessing the changing of the guard in real time. Whether Eala wins or loses a specific match, the fact that she is here, ranked inside the top 50, favored by many analysts against an established American star, speaks volumes about the work she and her team have done. This match at the Australian Open is more than just a first-round fixture. It is a litmus test. It is a test of whether the future of tennis has finally become the present of tennis. For the fans in the Philippines, this is the match you've been waiting for. For the fans in the United States, this is a match to watch with bated breath, hoping your star can weather the storm. And for the neutral tennis fan, this is simply as good as it gets. Power versus precision. Righty versus lefty. The establishment versus the rising force. We will be covering this match point by point as it happens. We will be analyzing every serve, every break point, and every shift in momentum. Do not take your eyes off Melbourne. If you enjoyed this deep dive analysis, if you appreciate the breakdown of the tactics and the history, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to be here for the entire 2 weeks of the Australian Open, bringing you the stories that matter, the stats that define the matches, and the passion that drives the sport. Hit that like button to show your support for your favorite player. Let us know in the comments. Do you have Eala winning in a tactical masterclass, or do you have Parks powering through in a display of dominance? I want to hear your score predictions below. This is the Australian Open. The stakes are maximum. The players are ready. And the world is watching. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you after the match for the full debrief. Until then, keep your eyes on the ball.